All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. I am very excited to do this video. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Very, very excited. We're going to talk about the Joe Rogan situation again. We're going to talk about Dana White, and we're going to talk about the cat that was in the bag that's now out of the bag, okay? Cat was in the bag, cat's out of the bag. And that cat has something to do with Dana White fighting against someone on behalf of Joe Rogan. And that's what it is. So we're going to talk about that because somebody leaked that on their show. Very, very credible source. And I'll show it to you guys. And now we're going to triangulate back to what Dana said last night at the press conference, everything about this situation. And then I want to talk even further about Dana because there's another clip having to do, with Dana, how he does business in general that is so illuminating. It's like, everything that I have always thought about Dana is validated in both of these videos. Look, I am very rarely wrong when I read people, and I had him pegged exactly, at least as it relates to business. And you'll understand exactly what I mean when I show these to you guys. So if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. This is going to be a good video. Settle in. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about Disney. We're going to talk about them trying to kick Rogan off, cancel culture. We'll talk about what the real effect's going to be. We talk about Dana going to bat for Rogan, secret style, except now the secret's starting to come out. And then we're going to talk about Dana White and his business practices in a much more illuminated way after this insight that we're going to share. So here's the deal. So like I said, yesterday I did a video about this, about the, line in the sand time. Like if they try to cancel Rogan, we need to stand up. We cannot allow it, right? Now I was just mad, I was just mad doing that video. I wasn't really thinking a lot, I wasn't really sitting and thinking about this situation and trying to triangulate all the pieces like I did, after I calmed down. And this isn't, again, I don't want to say that I know for 1,000% sure that what I now know that Dana did for Joe is directly related to this. It might have had to do with Spotify. But given all the circumstances around this, my guess is that I'm going to be right when I hypothesize, or at the very least be pretty much in the ballpark. Now, what I don't want to bury the lead. Here's the video that I saw that told us there's a lot more going on than what Dana White alluded to in the press conference, right? So let's watch that real quick. Ready, set, boom.
He's like, you'll never hear me say a bad thing about the UFC. Wow. They help me when I need it.
Dude, I like Dana. I like Dana.
I would, after what I heard what he did today, I love Dana White.
Yeah. What did he do today?
I can't. It's not my story to tell.
Yeah,
it's Rogan's. It's not my story to tell.
Yeah.
But I will.
I do.
I will never talk to you about Dana White again.
It's the moment I heard it, I was like, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not my story.
I'm on that dude's list.
Can't wait to hear it off air.
Or he's on my list.
No, and you won't.
Oh, tell him I saw Dana White in a club and flipped him off.
All right.
Yeah.
So there's that, right? It's not their story to tell, but Brendan Schaub, who has gone real hard at Dana, has always been going real hard at Dana, and Dana has always gone real hard at him. Whatever Dana did on behalf of Rogan this week put Brendan in a place where he straight up said, I love Dana White, and I'll never say another negative word about him. Okay? Now, there's only one type of thing that could take that and cause that, right? Rogan is Schaub's boy, right? Dana did something very heavy to protect Rogan, okay? So Schaub, he's like, he protected my boy. He's my guy. I don't care what our problems are. And I am definitely, my feelers are out. Like, I'm going to find out what this is. I'm going to find out what it is. Hopefully, when I find out, I'll be able to share it on the channel, but no guarantees. But either way, I think it's fair to assume that what was going on this week, that all of a sudden Joe Rogan was off, is not what Dana said in the press conference publicly, and I'll tell you exactly why he said that. Okay, assuming that, and look, I'm not like, this video is meant to be a Dana White praise session. So if I say something that I'm hypothesizing and it's not exactly what happened, I don't want anybody to think that I'm like breaking down. Like I'm literally just like talking out loud about what I think probably happened. Okay. And here's what I think. Okay. So triangulate all the parts of this story, right? Like all the pieces, all the chess pieces, and then play business chess, right? So you've got Joe Rogan, who has the biggest platform in the world, 13 million viewers per podcast. You have the institutionalists that really want to deplatform him because he is an enormous problem. They cannot control information as long as the biggest source of information in the world is not under their control. They'll do anything to get rid of him. They're not going to succeed, but that is why it's such a huge thing for them to get rid of him. If you don't understand that, I'm telling you, this is not conspiracy theory. This is just the world that you live in, and maybe you're not, awake to it or whatnot, but that is exactly what's happening. Okay, he's a source of information they can't control. He needs to go. That's why there's such a concerted effort to cancel him. Okay, now, when you think of this kind of, I think the reason why this stuff kind of sounds like conspiracy theory stuff to people is because it sounds to them like this is like a nebulous group. They're like, oh, who's they? What are we talking about? Like the Illuminati or what? And it's like, I mean, they're not the Illuminati. They are a very powerful group of politicians and elite business bankers, pharmaceutical companies that all combine, Bill Gates, all these guys, okay? Anybody that's in pharma, the big guys in pharma, anybody who's a central banker, huge big name politicians, Hillary Clinton, etc. Like, and this is not a Republican Democrat thing. This is an institution, like the government collaborates with corporations. That is what they do. And they want to be able to control the population to do the things that they want you to do. Okay. If you've got someone who is not on brand, on point, saying the things you want them to say, that completely ruins your ability to control the population. They really want to get him done. Okay. Like that is what this is. Period. Don't fucking argue with me about it. You're wrong. If you think that's not what this is, you're fucking wrong. Okay. Now, so when you talk about who these people are, okay, so pharmaceutical banks, Disney, okay, Disney is deep with these guys, okay, like Disney is right in the mix. We're talking about the most powerful people in the world. Disney, right dead center of that room. Now, why in the chessboard, okay, Disney is right here. UFC is over here. Now, Disney's obviously a monster compared to UFC. But there's something bigger than that, right? If they want to try to exert control over UFC, there's a simple way for them to do it. Because the parent company of the UFC is Endeavor. What's Endeavor's primary business? Okay? The primary business is they are a talent agency. They develop shows, they book talent. Like they represent all these amazing actors and actresses. Okay? Now, who are they reliant on to do their business well, right? If Disney blackballs you and your job is booking talent to fucking huge movie properties, that's a non-starter. It cannot happen. You can't cut Disney out of your ability to book without every single person that you represent just being like, all right, I'm going to CAA. Why would I do business with you guys if you can't get me a Disney movie or like Disney controls everything? Why would I do business? Like they have Endeavor by the balls. If they play real hardball, they're like, look, Rogan needs to go. Rogan needs to go. Like Endeavor, who definitely has board seats on the UFC's board, has the ability to really make shit uncomfortable for Dana. Like, and be like, look, we don't have a choice. They're putting their foot down. Rogan's got to go. So that's what I think is going. That's what I hypothesize, right? Hypothesize based on every other thing that's been going on. Okay, this very concerted effort to get Joe Rogan kicked off UFC. I mean, you've been seeing it. That's why every time someone writes an article about this, where they're like, I think Rogan needs to be replaced, I light them up, dude. Because this is not a coincidence. This is a concerted effort to try to get him off the air. And if you're a contributor to that, you're my fucking enemy. And you should be they should be enemies of all of us. Okay? Trent Rainsmith, fucking guilty party number one. Go read the shit that fucking guy wrote. Go look at Trent Rainsmith's Twitter and then try not to puke in your own mouth. That guy is pathetic, dude. Pathetic, dude. I mean, anyway. So that's what I think was going on. And so whatever happened when they try to come to Rogan, or they try to come to Dana and they're like, Rogan's got to go. Dana said, fuck you. And said, fuck you in a way where Schaub is like, I'll never say another bad word about Dana ever. Now, like I said, this is a hypothesis. It's also possible that it was about Spotify. Could have been something about Spotify. Who knows? But which seems more likely that Dana would, like if we acknowledge that Dana was in a position to influence the outcome of this Rogan thing, right? What do you think is more likely? That it was Spotify or that it was something having to do with the UFC and Disney leaning on them? Given that Rogan all of a sudden was off this show. Like, I mean, I would certainly say it is highly or much more likely that there was something having to do with UFC that Dana leaned into. And I mean, look, like Rogan has been with those guys forever. And Dana, I don't care. Like, I don't know. Maybe I should show this other video first. But Dana is a stone strategist. He's playing chess. If he looks like a villain to you guys, I'm going to reframe that again in a different way than I have before. He's playing chess. But here, he had Rogan's back, dude. And clearly in a way where he had to put shit on the line. You know? He had to put it on the line. And I don't doubt that Dana would threaten to fucking run the Titanic directly into an iceberg to protect his boy. Because that's what kind of guy he is. If you're on the inside with a guy like that, you are on the inside with him. Like, he's going to have your back. And I would expect you to have his as well. He's not a person you want to be on the wrong side of. But if you're on the inside, he's going to go to bat for you like that. I'm going to find out what this is. Like, I'm going to find out what it is. Hopefully I can share it when I do. But yeah, so props to Dana. And again, I wish I knew more about it. But here's the other thing, okay? So here's the other video that I want to show you about this, because it's like, it literally is like everything that you, like the main conversation that everyone is having about fighter pay. This literally is like a pair of bifocals that will clarify everything, okay? We're going to watch this, and then I'm going to explain it, and then we're going to understand exactly how all of this actually operates. Okay, ready? This is Matt Mitrione telling a story about running into Dana after he left UFC and signed with Bellator. Ready? Boom.
We have our we got booth or whatever, you know, and then above our
above
our booth is Dana's booth, and I didn't know it until I turned around and I see Dana. I'm like, oh shit, there's Dana. So I give Dana the finger, right? But I'm
across the room, he goes like this,
right? Just give Dana the finger, and he looks back. He's like, fuck you. He's like, come here. So I come up and see him. Now, I have no hard feelings against Dana whatsoever. Yeah. I just saw him. I just left the UFC. I was in Bellator. I was making way better money. I was happy. My life was good. You know, I think I might have just beat Fedor. So my life was great at that time, right? And he's like, come up here, man. So I come up there. He's like, why'd you give me the finger? I was like, I was just fucking with you. He's like, dude, I won't tell anybody this at all. He's like, but good for fucking you. He's like, you just won the game. He's like, you did a great job. He's like, we had a leverage position. We tried to work it, and you went and you made your own money, and you believed in yourself. And you made money out of it. He's like, good for fucking you.
He respects it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
he respects it. He's a businessman. He's an alpha.
There was nothing that was salty about it at all. He was literally, hey, good on you, man. Hey, like, you believe in yourself and you had sack.
Hey, let me tell you how much.
Boom. Now, real quick, that message that you guys saw come in on the top, that was Lewis Locke. He's the one that sent this to me. He's a boxer. Go follow him on Instagram. Lewis Locke. Just look at the notification from earlier that just came through. Okay, so that story, that's the story that validates everything that I've always known about Dana. Right there, okay? Dana's playing the game, all right? Like, I know that this is hard for people to grasp who've never really been in the trenches in business like this, where you're playing human chess. Like, You're playing against an adversary. You're strategizing about what they're thinking, what they're going to do. You're fighting with contracts. You're fighting with leverage. You're fighting with, power position, etc. That is what you're doing, but it's strategy. It's not just the fights. And the thing you need to understand about this is critical to understand, is that the fighter pay conversation there's nothing that is more central to the UFC's business than the fighter pay conversation. Okay. I know people are like, oh, why did he pay the fighters more? Okay. The purpose of every corporation, okay, is to provide a good or service that people want to buy so that you can grow and scale. Okay. So it's about expansion, and then it's about maximizing revenue and then maximizing your profit margin. Literally, those are your 3 fucking goals in business. Okay. Make sure you're providing a good or service that people want to buy. Make sure that you are growing and then maximizing your revenue intake. And then also make sure that you are maximizing your profit margin. The most money versus, more money that you make versus how much you've spent to make that money. That is the goal. Okay. And so if you understand that that's the game you're playing, okay, that is the game that you're playing in this fight business. Okay. Fighter pay is directly going to dictate your profit margin. Like, this is not a small deal, dude. Like, this isn't a small thing, what fighters get paid. This is an enormous thing. Like, it's an enormous thing as it relates to, the balance sheet and projections for the UFC. It's like, so every single deal that they do, every single deal that the UFC does, their goal is to pay as little as possible. Period. Okay? Period. Now that sucks. I know. Every time that, you think about a thing like that and you're like, oh, the company's goal is to pay their employees as little as possible. Wow, that's really shitty. Okay? It's business. It's business. This is what business is. If you have a problem with this, you have a problem with the way our entire system works, which maybe there is a problem there, but it's the system that we have, and this is how it works. Okay? It's how it works. Now, they can't pay them so little that they can all just go make way more money in other organizations. Although, when there is more money to make in other organizations, they need to leverage their position with the UFC, like that they're the premier brand, dangle carrots in front of them, etc., and then put them into contracts that keep them locked up for a long period of time. Like, that is their goal. Long-term contracts, paying as little as possible. Okay? Playing the leverage position. And people look at Dana like he's a villain. But here's the thing. Everything Dana's doing is strategy. Everything. Okay? Everything he does is strategy. I'm not saying that like he's incapable of flying off the handle and getting angry, but it's strategy. That story proves it. Mitrione beat him. He left UFC. He's making much more money in Bellator. And Dana congratulates him. He's not mad. He congratulates him, and he's just honest with him. He's like, look, you understood your leverage and you won. You beat us. Fair and square, right? Like, you beat us. He respects it, dude. Now, I will say this. This is what I've always known this, okay? Like, I've always understood this, which is how I didn't know how to best articulate that what was going on with Francis and Markel was the most high stakes game that Dana and them had ever been in. Like this was serious. Like, this was super fucking serious. It's the heavyweight champion who could potentially go fight in another organization or go box Tyson Fury and all of a sudden make, some enormous amount of money and plant that seed in all these other fighters' heads that, like, maybe I should fight my contract out and go see what I can do, right? And so, of course, they're playing against Markel and Francis. So when Dana comes out in the press and he says Markel's a garbage, he's a terrible manager, man. I don't know what kind of advice this guy's given Francis. What the hell's he doing? It's strategy. I've said that from the beginning. It's strategy. He is playing human chess. It's exactly what I would do. It's exactly what I would do. Because you look and you're like, fuck, dude, he's not moving on this, man. Like, we offered him a lot of money. They're not moving. He has his eye on something bigger. So what are we going to do? We need to try to undermine that relationship, right? Like, we need to undermine that. And in addition to that, let's say we were going to go the legal route and we want to sue Francis and try to jam him up from being able to leave. If he's with Markel, he's with CAA. CAA has tremendous legal resources that can make shit really like nasty for us. They can countersue us, dig into whether our contracts are legal, and really fuck the game up. Like, we're in a bad spot. We need Francis to lose. We either need Francis to lose, or we need to undermine that relationship and get him a new manager that sees things our way and gets him to re-sign. But there's no third option. He either needs to lose, or we need to break that relationship up, and we need to get someone in there that will get him to re-sign. Like those, because otherwise, if he doesn't re-sign and he just wins, we're fucked. We're fucked. Which is why Dana lives for the chess game, which is why when Francis won, there's a big game that he lost, you know? And listen, dude, I'm going to be honest. If you're looking at this as like war, the way that I look at it, like war, strategic fucking war. Dana fought a good fucking fight, man. Like, they fought a great fight. Once they realized he wasn't going to re-sign, it was like, okay, like if you really think about how the UFC played it, and I'm not talking like, you know, I get like people are going to be like, all I see is a bunch of unethical shit, man. They did a bunch of unethical shit. Okay. What I see is fucking a cutthroat game of human chess. Like, this is a dirty fucking game, man. I was literally, I said, I'll show you guys. I will literally show you guys. Like, last night when I was there and I was really, really close, you know, like I was really, really close to the action. And, you know, like I'm right there from the Zuffa team. And this is what I sent, dude. Like, I'm like, this is a dirty business, dude. I can literally smell the dirty business here. And I don't mean dirty like I meant like it's vicious, dude. Like, it's a vicious business. I can feel those things when I'm around it. I'm looking and I'm like, this is a fucking ruthless business. And as such, I mean, you know, look, think about who's in this sport, dude. Think about who's running the sport. Fucking Dana, dude. He's a gangster. And I mean that like, a gangster, like the way that I'm describing now. He will fucking try to win no matter what. He'll respect you if you beat him. But you're not going to beat him without him fucking going full throttle to beat you. But I looked over there and I was like, God damn. I'm telling you, man, like I feel extraordinarily comfortable in environments like that, but it's bad for me because I have a very, very dark side to my, like if I really give into that where like I get in the mode of like zero sum win. Anyway, but the bottom line is this. What they did with Francis was all smart strategy if your only goal is to try to make him lose or resign, right? You've got other managers coming in like trying, you know, you got your champions that are signed to long-term contracts in his ear. You can't beat them, man. You can't beat them. I don't even know if you guys knew that. Like, everyone's trying to tell Francis, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? You got Dana out in public railing on Markel. You've got, Francis wins the title. They do an interim fight instantly to put pressure on him where it's like, because now he only has one fight left. They do the interim fight. They like the night of they find out he has a torn MCL, right? The doctor, like, what do you do a doctor's pre-fight exam for if you fucking discover a torn MCL and you're like, that's fine, he can still fight. Like, what the fuck? Like, why is he being examined then? He has a torn MCL. This is a UFC doctor. Torn MCL. And they're like, yeah, but if he wants to fight, he's fine. Go for it. It's like, what's the point of the examination if you have torn ligaments in your knee and you're still cleared to fight? And then they threatened to sue his management at 6:30 the night of the fight. Like, dude, what else can you do? They did everything they could to try to get him to either resign or lose. And Francis won anyway. And he won anyway. And I guarantee you that at the end of the day, if what ends up happening is Markel and Francis end up re-signing with the UFC for some huge fucking deal that includes boxing and all that stuff, or they go do boxing and Francis makes a fucking shitload of money, I'm telling you right now, I literally just sent this to Markel. I just sent it. I was like, watch this Mitrione thing. I'm telling you, all the shit Dana talked, which would be impossible not to take personally. Like, if I were you, I understand. It would be impossible not to take that personally. But watch that video, dude. It's not personal. He's playing the game, dude. Like, he is playing the game to win at all costs. And I promise you, if they go do some big Tyson Fury fight and fucking Francis makes $50 million, I mean, Dana's going to say the exact same thing. He's going to be like, you beat us. Like, no hard feelings. You won. We fought a hard fight. No one's ever beat us like that before. Never. No one's ever beat us like that. And we fucking fought hard on this one. And you won. He'll respect them. He'll respect them. But the bottom line is this: if they're not doing that, like if Dana's not playing the game just like this, he's not doing his job. Like, this is what I keep trying to explain to people, is like, this is his fucking job. This is what he's there to do. He's there to maximize profits. Okay. Now, if you're saying, like, if people hear this and they're like, well, he's putting these guys in there, they're getting hurt, and then he's not taking care of their medical bills. That's not his fucking job, dude. Like, that's not his job. It's not a charity. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that they shouldn't, push to get that stuff covered or whatever it is. But the fighters are going to have to take that. You can't expect it to be volunteered. You just can't. You have to use leverage. You need to get in a leverage position. That's how you're going to get shit from them, because otherwise you're asking them to give you free shit. That's not the way it works. Now, that's what it is. Congratulations to Dana for having Joe's back. Everything that I just said, I was saying as like a compliment. It might not sound that way to people, but I don't know. If you look at business like I do, like, I'm saying this out of like tremendous respect. Tremendous respect. I love the human chess game. I love it. Now, one other thing that I wanted to say, and I want to end this on like a positive note, because an epiphany that I had about all of this weekend that I think is really important to just touch on. So I've been thinking a lot about what Rogan is going through, like thinking about being him in the middle of this thing, because like I said yesterday, I feel like I know him well, well, I probably do know him well, just like you guys know him well. And so I feel like I understand his personality enough to just think about this situation. And what I honestly, if I was going to guess how he feels right now, I would guess that he feels partially trapped. Like, trapped. Because this is not what he set out to do. Like, he didn't set out to be some fucking icon of the counter establishment. And he clearly doesn't like it. He clearly doesn't like it because he is apologizing for stuff. Like, if you want to be this kind of counter figure to them, then you handle it like Candace Owens. Like, Candace Owens loves it. She is an adversarial human being. And so, like, when they try to say shit about her, she loves it. You can just see it. And she would never apologize, ever. She'll go on and she'll just talk more shit, because she likes it. Joe does not like it. He doesn't want this, dude. But now he knows he has a responsibility. He can't quit, dude. Like, he can't stop doing the Joe Rogan Experience, and you can't water down the topics. You can't do that, dude. Now you're in a position that's really important. Really important. because Joe is smart enough that he understands the world and how it actually works. And if they shut him down, right? If he waters his shit down, he stops talking about the things he wants to talk about, stops having conversations. That's a big, we're talking about chess. That is the good guys losing their queen. Honestly, that's how fucking big it would be if Joe quit right now. It would be like, oh my God. Like, the reason they need him off so much is the reason he's so important. And he knows that. And so he probably feels trapped. He's like, I know I have this huge responsibility, but, this isn't really what I set out to do. And then I was just thinking about the other side of it, where it's like, to have all these people attack you like that. Because I know, like, dude, if I put up a video and like I get, I don't know, like if I'm ever like reading through the comments and I get like 15 negative comments, like 15, because I said something in the video that whatever, that shit makes me mad, dude. Like, I feel like I need to like go and like respond in a video, or I'm like, the fuck? Like, it really makes me mad. And we're talking like a handful of comments, okay? Like, I'm not a well-balanced person when it comes to criticism. I can certainly acknowledge that. Very self-aware, not good at taking criticism. But to try to even imagine what it would be like to be on all the different mainstream media channels and have them just lying about you, like ripping your shit with bullshit, like just fucking lighting you up with bullshit. It's honestly hard to even like imagine what that would be like. And so I fucking felt bad for him. Like, obviously, I think most people would be like, I'd do anything to be Joe Rogan. I'm like, yeah, I mean, sure. But that doesn't mean this isn't a really hard situation. Because it is. It's a super, like, he's a go along to get along guy. Like, the idea of people not liking him is fucking poison to him. And then I realized, I was like, but then you look at this shit, like you look at Izzy, right? Izzy at the press conference. He's like, I'll take this, dude. I'll take this. Rogan's my boy. Like, and then this whatever happened with Dana, right? Like, whatever happened with Dana. And you're like, damn, man. It's like, out of this, like, really, really challenging situation comes this gift where it's like, you get to see who really has your back. And like, there's no feeling like that, man. Like, when you're really up against it and someone who doesn't need to do it steps out and defends you, whether it's in a fight or it's a verbal thing or whatever. Like, if you're feeling cornered and someone has your back, you never forget that. Like, you fucking never forget that. Never. Again, like, whether it's a guy like, a guy who stood shoulder to shoulder with you when you were up, like, you found yourself in a situation where, like, this is my own story, found myself in a situation where I'm squared up against multiple people, big dudes that were whatever. And my boy, shoulder to shoulder, comes in, steps in, he's fighting with me. And it like, like put himself in tremendous danger. These are big ass dudes. He didn't have to do it, and he did. He did because he's like, that's my boy right there. I got you. Like, you never forget that stuff. And this is just like that, dude. Like, this is exactly like that. Where these people who are coming out and speaking up for Rogan, anybody who like has tweeted support for him, like, I'm talking like his real, like, guys who know him, Lex Fried, Sam Harris, Izzy, whatever Dana did. Like, you should, like, I personally, if this was me now, I would look at this whole thing with gratitude. Like, I would be grateful that this happened, because all the external noise is bullshit. It doesn't actually matter. It's a bunch of people that do not know you, that will never listen to you, that have ulterior motives for what they're doing. It's bullshit. They don't matter. They don't mean fucking shit in your life. Nothing. They're nobodies, dude. They're powerful, but they're fucking nobodies. They don't give a fuck about you, and you don't give a fuck them, dude. What matters in your life are the people that you love and the ones that love you. And it is very rare for a person to be given an opportunity where the people that you love step out in front of that and take the fire for you. Like, Rogan is getting to see all of his closest people come out and fucking defend him against this shit. And like, I'm telling you, he has to be deeply moved by that. He is an emotional guy, dude. I would bet my life he's cried multiple times thinking about these people defending him, dude. As I probably would too. Because again, I would look at it with gratitude. You don't normally get the opportunity to see who's really got your back as an adult. You know, it's like, yeah, you have some laughs with guys. You have a good time with people. Yeah, he's my buddy, man. That's my good buddy. It's like, how good of a buddy? Well, what do you mean? I don't know. Would he step in front of a shitstorm for you? I don't know in what regard. I don't know if you fucking, dude, if you were in danger, would he step in between danger and you to protect you? I don't know. Well, it'd feel nice to know who would, right? Yeah. And now Rogan knows exactly who would, which is fucking everybody. Everyone. It's because you have faceless, evil, disingenuous pieces of shit that are the ones who are driving this. Either people who do not know him and are brainwashed by the mainstream media, or just elitist trash who think you're too dumb. Like, they think you're too dumb. They just think they're so fucking smart that they're like, we need to control misinformation. You're like, like, they're looking at how this all went. I'm telling you right now, like, these guys are looking at how this whole thing has gone in the last 2 years. And this is a failure to them. Just to be clear, this is an abject failure. Okay. Their goal, plain and simple, was to get the passports put in place. That was their goal. And they failed. And the reason why they're fighting so hard in Canada is because they thought they had a foothold there. Like, they thought Canada, all right, we're locked in there. That's a foothold for the passports that we can try to establish a beachhead there and then expand from there. And when the truckers went up there and they're breaking that beachhead, that's why they're fighting so hard up there, is they're like, you know, again, this might sound like conspiracy stuff. I'm just telling you, you might not understand the world you live in. That is what was going on, okay? And the reason why they failed is because of people like Joe Rogan. And because there was this enormous amount of information that you can get from other places. They think you're a moron. Like, they think you are a moron. They think that if they control, they turn every single thing into sound bites, into 4-letter or 4-word sound bites. You know, anti-master, you're like, what does that even mean? Like, everything's a campaign slogan to you guys. There's no depth to anything you're saying. You're just trying to dumb it all the way down, feed it to people like a shit sandwich, and expect them to eat it. And if they don't eat it, you call them, a person who dislikes people of other ethnicities, Oh, that guy. He's one of those ists. He's a racist. He's a supremacist. He's one of those guys. And it's like, so everyone is that now? Like, anybody who disagrees with one of your things, that's your default? It's like, it's the same dumb playbook. Like, they just replay it constantly. It's one of those things where literally, once you see it, you'll never unsee it. Okay? I didn't start seeing it until probably 2018. And once I saw it, if you're a smart person, you can't unsee it, man. It's just the way it is, dude. Like, this is just what happens. And Joe is a real person. Like, he's a real person who's having real conversations, who's exploring information, and he's really likable, and he's a good dude. which is why people respond to him. Because it's like, oh, geez, can I watch, I don't know, some guy in a suit who's literally reading a script with four-word sentences that are meant to make me like think things? Or do I want to listen to like two really smart people have an engaging 3-hour conversation? Okay, like, guess why I end up so squarely on the other side? I can't do, like, I sniff that stuff out instantly. Like if I'm hearing the same term over and over, it's just like I see propaganda instantly. It's like, and on both sides, this is not like a left or right thing. It's just so fucking obvious. I don't understand how anyone falls for this shit. It's like, I say they think you're stupid. It's because a lot of people are stupid. But they're made stupid by this system. Jesus, I have sprawled on this video. Okay, bottom line, Joe is grateful. Nothing but love for Joe. Nothing but love for Dana. And, yeah, I'm very grateful that I was able to go to the show last night, and I owe that to you guys. Thank you guys very much.